What's up, everyone, and welcome to the SGG Podcast, brought to you by ASOTV for the pros and cons of beta testing. I'm your host, Zista. With me is Phil and John.
Hi.
Hello.
How's it going?
Good.
Good. So, beta testing. How many games have you guys had the opportunity to beta test?
Damn many.
10.
Well, random guess. Probably more.
Okay. John?
I'm gonna say maybe like 5 or 6.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of guess, a bit of counting, but yeah.
I figured your number would be closer to the mighty number 9.
Yeah, you just had to do that. 5 minutes in.
Delayed again, was it?
Yeah. So have you actually had a chance to beta test that game?
Yes.
And
I got a beta.
And what do you think of that one?
It's not very good.
No.
Not very good at all.
So that's one of the big downfalls of beta testing, right? You as a gamer, right? You're looking at, I get to play the game early, and that's not the point of beta testing. Like,
No.
The point of beta testing is not to play the game. It's not to decide whether or not you're gonna like the game and whether or not you should buy the game. That's not the purpose of beta testing. That's what everybody expects, and it's kind of become the norm of what beta testing has become now. But that's not the purpose of it. The purpose of beta testing is to make sure the game is as good as it could be for launch. And that is not only for the players, that's obviously for the game companies as well, but it's mainly for the players. Because if the game does not function, you're going to be upset when you buy it on launch day. Hence every World of Warcraft launch since vanilla.
Which is why I'm not touching the Legion beta, even though I've had it since Legion Alpha. Usually betas for me, I see them as, does the game run? Are there game-destroying bugs? Are there game-destroying balance issues? And then, let's find as many of the little tiny annoying bugs that we can get. And in cases where balance is a must, like, Overwatch just recently came out, then, little balance tweaks here and there, fine tuning.
No, on a side note, I know I'm probably going to be mentioning a lot of Blizzard stuff myself, and it's not biasism, but it's the majority of the betas that I've played are Blizzard games. Overwatch has been the smoothest Blizzard release title that I've ever seen on launch day. There were very minimal bugs that impeded you from playing.
The only issues they had were server stability, it seemed, and they were really, really minor.
Yeah, and even those were minor. They were finicky. Like, it wasn't for everyone. It was certain regions. The large majority of people were still able to play. There was no error messages that you couldn't log into servers or anything like that. It's not like Diablo and all these other games when they launched where you couldn't even play them. Arkham on PC and John, you think if Arkham Knight got a beta on PC that it might have actually launched?
Nah.
No?
The game had too much wrong with it.
No. The problem is that they didn't know how to port it in the first place. So, yeah, they could have released it as a beta, and then everyone would be like, "What are you doing? What are your credentials, sirs?"
It's almost as if they ported the game and never tested it. It's just like, here it is. Like,
they had about a week and a half to do it, apparently. Well,
really?
absurdly short amount of time. They had like weeks to do it, so
Yeah, porting something from console is not an easy task.
No, and it's not necessarily something that you would be like, hey, we should run a beta test.
That's exactly it, yeah.
But that's what you have internal testing for, right? You have your quality control team, your quality assessment team, or whatever you want to call it, the Q&A team.
They all got fired.
Pretty much. But usually that's where betas start. right? Then and they're not even called betas at that point. They're typically alphas or internal releases. They don't even typically have names at that point.
Which was always like I don't know, like it felt whenever there was like a World of Warcraft like internal alpha, like you were seeing like the forbidden knowledge of screenshots, and it was like super super cool to kind of track that stuff down.
Yeah, and I mean at that point you're not even allowed to say that you're in the alphas and stuff. You can't even be like, oh yeah, I'm playing Warcraft or whatever. I mean, there was a period for Legion, which Legion's still not out right now. World of Warcraft Legion, where there were people that got into the alpha, that were the typical people that don't normally get in, and that's partway to the friends and family aspect, because Blizzard tends to run what is called the friends and family alpha, which is for the employees and really close friends and family members that they can give access to. It seems like a couple big streamers and stuff got into that earlier, and then Blizzard just kind of went with it and was like, well, we'll just launch beta now, and
have at it.
They just threw a bunch of people access, right? Mainly, streamers and stuff like that, because of, what had happened. And I don't know, in that case, you run into the risk, especially with, like, I feel like Blizzard games now, especially Warcraft, have turned into, oh, I demand to get in the beta. And everybody that wants in the beta pretty much gets in at this point.
Yeah.
And to me, it's basically early access. Yes, your progression doesn't carry over and stuff like that, but a large majority of the stuff is intact, like the quests and everything. You're seeing it. So, I've played almost every Warcraft beta. I've been in every Warcraft beta, including the original, like Vanilla WoW. And Burning Crusade was probably the one that I played the most of, and then shortly after that was Cataclysm. Right.
Yeah.
Ironically, and Miss Pandaria as well, but I played about half as much as I did the other two. But ironically, the three of those are the Warcraft expansions that I burnt out on. Right?
Oh.
And it's because I played them too much.
Yep.
So that is one of the big risks that you run into with just giving everybody access to everything, is burnout. Like, you want people to buy your game, and in the case of Blizzard, they're going to buy it anyway.
Of course.
They don't have to worry about Warcraft people burning out right away, but because they're going to buy it. Like, even if you played all through beta, you're going to buy it, you're going to play it, you're going to probably raid a bunch of times, but you're going to be burnt out really quickly, especially if you did everything there is to do in beta right now.
See, I played through the Warlords of Draenor beta, and
Beta.
I almost got to max level. I didn't. But one thing that it helped, I knew what I was doing. I knew what was coming. I knew where the quests were and just generally where I had to go. So it helped smooth my leveling process and actually make it fairly quick. I was bored out of my skull, though, the whole time, because seen it, done it, nothing new here. So if I was going for like some kind of speed leveling achievement, then yeah, I'm going to play through the beta a couple of times leveling through so I know the optimal route, figure this all stuff out, but I'm not going to enjoy it.
I think that's a lot of the reason why Blizzard got rid of the achievements for server firsts and things like that, because that's what people were doing. And people that got in, and just other people that wanted to do it and didn't get random luck of the draw, didn't get in, felt shafted, and they had to go through secondhand information and all that, which is kind of terrible. But
sure.
Like, another part, and what people don't realize, another big part of the beta testing is for stress test, right? They want to get as many people into their game as possible to see how well their servers can handle it, right? And that's part of the reason why I think Overwatch was so successful with their launch.
Yeah, and I mean, they learned their lessons from Diablo 3's launch, because that was, they stress tested it, but not to the level they needed to.
That was a dumpster fire.
Forget about that. Go 11 years back and look at the initial launch for World of Warcraft. Their projected sales did not meet the capabilities of their servers by
Right.
any close margin at all. It was like 4 times the demand of what they had planned.
And they were scrambling from day one to, get new servers up and running and ready to go.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, they succeeded somewhat.
Yeah, and unfortunately, in certain cases, that can make or break a game.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If the game does not work on launch day and people just get aggravated, they may not go back to play it. Much like John in Arkham Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, I can think of an even bigger example than that. The Star Wars Battlefront beta.
Mm.
Played that, and I was like, no. A lot of people were.
I mean,
So,
hey, you nailed the aesthetic, but
yeah, and I mean, as a gamer, that is great information. Like, to get in there and be like, okay, well, yeah, I was looking forward to Battlefront, right? I got into the beta for it, and I was like,
refund, please.
No, I'm glad I didn't buy this yet. Like, I'm taking my deposit back from GameStop. Like, I'm not buying this game. So,
right.
As a gamer, that's good information to have, but that's still not the purpose of beta testing.
No.
It was fun. It showed me better ways I could spend $60.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
But I mean, it's weird because I guess sort of the thing we've been almost dancing around is the fact that like beta testing used to actually be for testing purposes,
right?
And like games would patch the crap out of like themselves, and it was some like I remember like for some of the WoW betas, like they were patching that son of a bitch like every week. Like we found this bug, we removed Captain Placeholder from over here, and all sorts of cool stuff. So like there was a lot of feedback, a lot of back and forth, and a lot of updates very quickly. Like even in the Diablo, they'll do like patch betas, sort of, like a test realm sort of thing, like they do in WoW, and even that like is very dynamic, and it's almost like a mini beta for the patch. So like I feel like that version of beta has kind of been lost now because, like you said, a lot of betas are just like that. The Tom Clancy is probably the most notorious one because the Tom Clancy beta, they didn't change anything.
For which one, the Division or
the Division? No, the team shooter game,
Rainbow Six Siege.
Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because that was a beta that came out the day before, or like the week before.
Mm-hmm.
They changed literally nothing. They just took away the word beta and then said the game is out.
I think that might have been a little bit of server testing. Stress testing. It's like, let's get a bunch of people in here and see if our servers can handle that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Which, that's still testing to a degree, and it's easier to do that than it is to try to do in-house testing where they're simulating, a bunch of computers running it and stuff like that.
I mean, I remember playing in a couple of betas. Early Planet Side 2 is one of them where certain things were just broke. Like, you summoned a certain vehicle or you drove over a certain section of the map and you'd fall through the world. The game would crash. One was spontaneously exploding for no reason. That was my favorite. And, that was the point of the beta. Find this shit. You report it, and it was enough reports. It was usually patched in at the end of the week. And they spent months doing that. But lately, all the betas I've been getting into, or even alphas even, the game feels complete already. I got into the, what? I can't remember the name of the game. There was the, Dreadnought beta. There we go. That's in beta.
Okay.
And I realized, well, this game isn't for me, first off, and it's complete. It's polished. This is the prettiest looking game I've seen in beta state ever.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell am I doing here?
Right, yeah.
Like what am I testing?
What do you need me for? Exactly.
Well, see, a lot of that, too, is big companies like that, they don't want to give a negative outlook on their product, right? So the other issue with beta testing, public beta testing in any way, shape, or form, is you send waves out, whatever, you get people in there. But if you have barely anything to try, if the game, has placeholders and, all kinds of stuff like that, you're going to look at the game and be like, what?
how bad this is.
Why am I going to play this thing? This is awful.
I mean,
Yeah.
here's an example of one that's doing it right now. Warhammer 40,000 Eternal Crusade. They have this is a beta. If you pre-order, you can buy into it. The price is, I think, half of what final price would be right now. The game is a mess. A total mess. They're trying to make Warhammer 40K combined with PlanetSide. Huge, like, two-way team battles, vehicles on the map, all that crazy kind of stuff.
Oh.
It looks interesting. It looks like fun. It kind of is fun. The game runs like crap, even on, like, top-end systems. It is not balanced at all, and there's a chance that the server is just going to crash if somebody moves wrong. But it's a beta.
That's a beta.
Like, it's an actual beta.
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's... I think it's an alpha right now. I don't even know. But they're testing shit, which is what they're supposed to be doing. It's not like, here's a free, like, week-long demo of our game.
Right, and it seems like the new standard is for massive multiplayer games. Anything,
Those
whether that's a
especially.
shooter or an MMO, shooter like Overwatch or Division or, anything like that, or an MMO like Warcraft or, any game that's running a lot of people simultaneously, they do public betas. Right?
Yeah.
They just try to get as many people in there as possible to test their servers. I think that's the main point of that, is they're testing their servers more than they're testing for bugs. And you're going to get people in there that are going to try, because the more people you have in there, the more chances you have to find bugs are too. Like, you can monitor stuff, you get statistics, you find out, and you do balance that way too. Like, the community finds out really quickly what characters work the best, right? And as soon as you find out, which character is quote unquote overpowered, everybody starts gravitating toward that. And that's when the game companies got to realize, hey, maybe this character is more, overpowered or something, in the terms of like Overwatch, you look at that and everybody's complaining about Bastion right now. Bastion's so skillful and there's nothing you can do against Bastion. There's so many ways to counter Bastion. It's ridiculous, but that's like the flavor of the month right now.
Every hero has counters up to 3 each. Then someone made a lovely I've seen a card system, I've seen a flow chart, I've seen a couple of different ways that say this is who you're going to destroy and this is who is going to destroy you.
Right. So it's more of get as many people in as possible and try to find what works and what doesn't work. So
Right.
there is purpose to that. Right.
Right. And there's always like the idea of like you throw enough people at a game and one of them will find something that's broken. Someone will find the game-breaking horror show that we don't know about,
Mm-hmm.
So, there's also that. It's just like, it's more than the stress test, I guess. Just like the throw science at the wall and see what sticks sort of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there's a few notable things that have. Heroes of the Storm had one recently. Hit level 20 with Kael'thas, your living bomb spread infinitely.
Oh!
It would
That's
explode,
good.
spread, explode, spread. It would never stop spreading. And that was only if you picked a certain talent and then got to level 20 and picked another certain talent.
Hmm.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's supposed to spread infinitely with a level 20 talent.
Yeah.
It had no cooldown. That was the bug. So you can just spam it on everything.
That's not
So-
broken.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
But it's things like that you don't predict, and you can't predict. And it's like fixing one line of coding may completely break something else. You may be like, oh, well, let's allow 10 more people onto this server. Allowing those 10 people onto the server by writing the code for max people or whatever may create a bug like that, where something infinitely spawn, like you may accidentally break like the rate of fire on something, not even realizing it, just the way the coding is written.
Yeah. I mean, beta's beta.
Mm-hmm. Now for beta testing, the purpose of the internal and stuff, the QA team, right? They prioritize bugs between what they call A bugs, B bugs, and C bugs. A bugs are what are known as things that'll make the game crash, make it completely unplayable. They're the top priority, right?
Of course.
B bugs are what is basically game impeding things, they will still allow the game to function, but it's not functioning the way it's intended to function. And it's still a priority to fix before going live with your game. Some may slip through, but, for the most part, those. And then the C bugs are the ones that are allowed to persist, like maybe a small graphical bug, like there's a little clipping issue on the color between, like the picture frame behind me and the wall, or, I don't know, something like it may flicker or something, that's a bug. It's not intended to flicker, but it's something that they could launch with the game, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
So, but you do not see beta testing for single-player games like this anymore. A little more in the indie environment, but not from big companies. Big companies just don't launch single-player game betas anymore.
No, because they have their own internal testing teams and quality assurance and stuff like that. They can afford that. Indie studios, some indie games are 2 guys programming shit in their garage.
Right.
So they don't have the access to that kind of, those kinds of resources early on.
And a lot of the time, like a beta is even like a Kickstarter backing reward or whatever.
Yep.
You'll get, if you back the game on Kickstarter, you get to play it. You get to try it 6 months early. Like I had the enchanting chance to do with Might of Number 9, stuff like that. So, I mean, even a game like Hyper Light Drifter, which just came out a couple months ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that game had a beta too, and it's like a Zelda kind of adventure game.
Yeah.
Every game has to do it at some point, I think. I mean,
well, especially startup games. Like, John, have you ever heard of a beta test for a Nintendo game?
No.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
So
Again.
Not every company has to do it.
No, but Nintendo has those internal testers and the
Of course.
internal. It's
Every game
Nintendo
gets
we're
tested.
talking about here.
No, I know. Every game gets tested, but
Yeah.
not every game needs to have a beta release.
Right. That's true. That is
You know.
very true.
Why do I have a feeling that Nintendo hires like 1,000 Japanese school kids to like sit in a room playing the Wii for 10 hours a day to find every little tiny bug they can?
Damn, they might. I mean, I don't know.
I do know of companies that hire outside third-party game testers, and I mean, like all these commercials, like, oh, test games, like play all this stuff. It's like as boring as sin. You're sitting there for 3 hours. Oh, you found a bug. Let's make it happen again. Okay, it happened again. Let's make sure it happens again and document it. All right, you're 6 hours trying to make the same bug happen. Like,
yeah.
Well, and again, like it's the companies have money to do this, but like a game like like Sonic Boom, that really horrible Sonic game that came out a couple of years ago, like that shipped with numerous game destroying bugs and just weirdness, and there was a big QA team, and I think the Game Grumps made a joke about the quality assurance because they were like, quality assurance, of course. You're like, who the fuck? And one of the guys apparently got in contact with him. Like, look, man, we get it, but we told them about this stuff. Like, we told them everything that you said, and they did nothing. They did nothing about it. So, sometimes you can afford them. You don't got to listen to them.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I mean,
like every Assassin's Creed launch, how about they're all
anything Ubisoft launches lately.
Well,
yeah.
Every game is going to have bugs. There's no way.
Yeah.
Like,
of course.
There's still bugs that are for the original Super Mario Brothers that are still being found to this day that people are exploiting for speedruns. There's a way, something with I forget what it is. It involves something with like player 2 dying on a vine in what's it, stage 1-2 or
1 day? It's like 1-4 or something like that.
1-3? No, 2-2 I think it is.
Wherever.
I don't know. You have like player 2 dying on a vine, and then it like spawns a vine in for player 1 and gives you the unlimited life trick because you never touch the ground, and hit Koopas on, keep bouncing on the same Koopa shell by wedging it on a vine. The vine doesn't exist in stage 1-2, but because player 2 died on stage 2-2 on a vine, like time runs out or something, you have to die on the vine.
Yeah.
It's completely ridiculous.
And the vine appears now, and it's very strange.
And it's such a specific thing that you have to do, to get that. So no amount of testing is going to find that right away.
No.
This is a glitch, a bug, whatever, that wasn't found in the game for over 25 years. It was just found this year.
Yep.
So bugs get through all the time. There's stuff you can't plan for. But
especially
nobody's going to say,
nowadays.
Super Mario Brothers is an unpolished game. Like, that's unplayable. That's not the case.
No, they're not going to say that because the game worked remarkably well for, the era in which it was released.
Yeah.
It really wasn't anything game-shattering. These are just weird instances of where lines of code just don't mesh well, and it's not exactly like you can patch an NES game cartridge.
Well, it is what it is.
Yep. I don't know. It feels to me a lot of beta testing is being misconstrued lately, and it's just the fact that they're, especially in Blizzard's community, Blizzard loves to embrace, fan support, and they open the door to do this it has positive and negative results of it, right? For Blizzard, they're like, yes, go ahead. You can talk about our game, make content, do whatever you want to do.
Data mine the shit out of it.
And you can monetize it. YouTube full monetize their songs, their game footage, like everything. Anything they do, go for it. Like they want the community to be strong and build and be excited for things and all this kind of stuff. So you get that. But then you have the influencers, which they're big name. Like you may get somebody that's like a big StarCraft news person or something, right? And then they didn't get into a beta for like Overwatch. They start throwing a fit, right? And it's like, I'm an influencer, I should have access, and it's like I'm like, but you don't, you handle StarCraft. Why?
Right.
Why are you doing Overwatch? Like, I get you have to and that's not there's a specific scenario, but I don't want to point anybody out because I'm not that kind of. So I picked StarCraft because that's a game that I don't think it has anything like that. But like I can understand, news is getting low, whatever. So you want to try maybe broaden, or maybe you want to move on from that and go on to a new game or something like that. But just the entitlement in that.
Mm-hmm.
It gets under my skin because it's like, look, this is not for you. This beta was not created for you. If you get in, great. If you don't, throwing a tantrum about it should not get you in.
No.
Throwing it, and I've seen this actually happen with a few people for a few different betas, all Blizzard related, strangely. All right, you didn't get in. It's a beta for testing, not for you to broaden your viewer base, because what is going to draw viewers to your channel faster than I'm playing a beta that practically no one has?
Mm-hmm.
Like, normal, it's like, I'm a, casual, like, middle streamer. I got like 600 viewers constantly. Start playing the new hottest Blizzard beta that almost nobody got into. Guess what? You now have 10,000 people watching you. Congratulations.
Right. Yeah.
Which lasts for about 10 minutes, and then you're not so cool anymore.
That's the only reason half of these people were pitching a shit fit.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
But it's not even that. It's like influencers that are into, much like what we do with podcasting, or, they may work for a site, a website or something like that. And if you honestly feel that you are supposed to be in it for news-related purposes, because you work for a company, or something like that, you or someone that you work with should have contacts within the company. Because I don't know anyone that's a major influencer that does not have some kind of contact to get in. Because if you're getting into the betas, you had to get into touch with somebody beforehand. You know, like if you think that Towley or anybody like that who's a streamer just got handed their key or invited without knowing that they were going to get in, you were sadly mistaken. They were in touch with Blizzard or whatever game company and were personally asked, you know, to get into the, you know, play the beta.
Mm-hmm.
So you have some kind of contact somewhere. You should probably use those, then make a big scene on social media demanding that you get into a beta and make a big stink over it. Being part of a beta is not a privilege. I guess it is.
Well, it's not a right.
Yeah, it's not a right. It's a privilege, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. I'm searching for the words in my head too. Like, no, it is kind of a privilege. It's
Yeah.
It's like it's not meant for like you to have fun with. It's just meant to like it's for testing. It's for science, my friend.
Right.
You may have fun with your science, but
you know, like Mike said, with the streamers and everything, it's kind of opened, you know, a whole new door because Twitch is so popular, and you know, back when Warcraft was in like Wrath of the Lich King and Burning Crusade and stuff like that, and even Vanilla WoW, before Twitch was really a big thing, there was NDAs, like you had to sign non-disclosure agreements and stuff to get into these. Now, you can't do that. Like, everybody's become a streamer. It's like, you have a computer that was made in the last 5 years, you can stream. Maybe not well, but you can still stream.
Easier than ever.
You know, it's so accessible that it's impossible to keep anything under wraps. And the internet, everything is blown so big, and the betas are so widely accepted now that that's part of release. Every game's done it. The Division's done it, Overwatch, Warcraft, Hearthstone, like a card game.
That was a beta.
It was in beta for over a year. You know?
Yeah.
I remember 7-8 years ago booting up Farmville on Facebook, and it would say Farmville beta.
Beta.
Like, what?
Are you sure?
Like, what? So, I was not aware Facebook games had beta, you know, stuff until Farmville. In fact, for all I know, Farmville might still be in beta.
And you know what? They took your money just the same.
They put, I mean, for a lot of those Facebook games, they just put beta on the corner as a, you know, I guess a way to cover their asses in case something doesn't work.
Anything's wrong.
If there's anything wrong, there's this lovely thing that says beta next to it. It's a disclaimer. Covers all errors and bugs and stuff like that.
For science, I'm unblocking Farmville right now.
That's a can of worms, man.
I just want to see if it says beta on the splash screen.
But yeah, back to
no,
previous...
it does not. So it's Farmville's finally out of beta.
Out of beta. Yeah, back to a previous point.
Block.
Yeah, I am 100% in agreement that game companies just are misusing the term beta, or just aren't using them for what they should be using. I mean, I played a lot of The Division. I enjoyed The Division. And it is still filled with annoying and just utterly experience-ruining bugs. Like, for a while, you know, I'm not sure if it's still current right now, but my wife can't even play the game because every time she takes a step, she falls through the world. Dies, respawns, comes back, gets that same spot, falls through the same exact spot in the world again. Over and over and over. I couldn't even keep a connection stable for a while. It's just, there's a lot of little, you know, buggy things and exploits and all kinds of stupid shit in there.
I mean, I had an issue with The Division on launch day. That was launch day.
I think everybody did.
And no, but remember my game kept crashing after we got out of the very early aspect. We got onto like the main island for the first time. I couldn't walk past a certain point.
He walked past it. Yeah.
What it ended up being is my game files were corrupted, and all I had to do was do a system check, and it like restored all the files, and the game's worked fine since then. I've never experienced another bug.
His
yeah.
freshly installed game had corrupted game files.
Yeah. Well, I think part
It
of
happens.
that. I think
Yeah.
part of that was my disc, because I own. I don't know where I put it. Whatever. I own it on disc, right? Oh, it's right here on my desk. I got change on top of it, but I own a physical copy of The Division, right? So I bought it, and I was like, oh well, I don't feel like downloading 30-something gigs worth of stuff. Let me just install it off the discs. Get all the way into the last disc, and no, disc 4 out of 5, and yeah, right.
I'm like,
And
what is this, Final Fantasy VIII?
Yes, and it was corrupted. The installation was corrupted, so I had to download it anyway. So I think maybe the fact that I had two installation types going at the same time might have something to do with that.
That was the annoying bug. It was whenever she started the game, it would freeze black screen. Kept doing it, freeze black screen. You had to Alt-Enter, force it into windowed mode, close the game, restart it in windowed mode, and once the game fully loaded, take it back out of window mode.
Great.
Every day. Until I'm thinking a certain patch fixed that. I don't know. She didn't really tell me about it. So, I'm not sure if that was fixed.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's just like little things like that. Yeah, they can be annoying, especially when they get through on launch.
Shit that should have been. That's shit that should have been caught in beta, in my opinion.
Yes and no, but you also got to remember there's how many different types of video cards out there that all run different drivers and graphics, and you know, you can only test for so many. What are you gonna do? Go out and buy every graphics card that's been made in the last 10 years for every single thing and run them on the computer? Like,
yes, you are. That is exactly what you're gonna do.
No, you're not. That is the purpose of betas, and you know what? Maybe your graphics card didn't get tested. Maybe, you know, it's a possibility.
Could
Stuff
be.
like that happens.
Yeah, I mean, they can only test so many machine configurations, and even then, individual, like, we could have the three of us have the same graphics card, and they could all behave differently because they're just not the same physical card.
Yeah.
You know,
whether
same
it's
model.
production model A, B, or C, you know, of that particular version.
Or even like that
Motherboard,
day,
CPU, yeah.
right? Like motherboards, we could buy the same motherboard and it can perform differently for both of us. You know, mine could run cooler than his just because of how it was made that day. You know.
Yeah.
So, I think that maybe is an interesting idea. That like that's why PC games are so much more commonly beta tested, just because there's so much more that can go wrong.
Yeah,
You know?
Xbox and PS4, it's set hardware. Nothing's changing.
Well,
Right.
those ones are more for, like I said, they're mainly multiplayer games, which you're going to find they're stress testing their servers.
Mhm.
Yeah, and it's sort of like a pseudo early access for like pre-order people and such.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the incentive now, because that's the other thing is you got to try as a company to get people in as much, and you're like, oh well, beta access, well let's get our numbers in early. We could get our projected things in. If we sell, you know, X amount of copies before launch day, and we tell everybody you're getting betas, then we'll know what our projected numbers are. Then it's like, okay, everybody's rushing out to get it.
Yeah.
You'll know if you met quota or not. You know, then you know whether or not you should continue production on the game. Like, are you gonna pump out more content for your season passes? Are you gonna try to, you know, make the game better, or you know, are you just gonna dial back and take your time doing stuff?
Or are you going to in some cases, take your money and run?
Yeah, that happens. Like Cube World.
Yeah.
Now, Cube World was actually just recently updated, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. He came out of like the depths of
over-a-year
wherever
retirement.
the hell he disappeared
Yeah, I
to.
don't know where it went.
And, you know, that was a big worry for a while with Star Citizen, and it still is, that they're going to take all of that money and run, because game's crowdfunded up, I believe, you know, in over 100 million at this point.
Yeah.
Which is ridiculous. But there's another game that's utilizing, like, buy-in alpha and buy-in beta really well.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their community is very vocal about what doesn't work, because, I mean, some people paid hundreds of bucks to pledge to this game. They want to make sure it works.
Right.
And, you know, they're very open about the whole process. They do a weekly podcast, like, you know, here are the bugs we found, and here's what we did to fix them. And then it brought up these bugs, and this is how we fixed them. And it's like, here's some things we were planning to implement. They didn't fucking work, so we're going to scrap them for now. Like, they're doing a beta right, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe everybody should take their example and do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean...
I don't know what else I can say on that.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And I usually don't do that.
Individually, I guess we'll start with Mike. What are the games that you've beta tested?
Let's see. Diablo 3, StarCraft 2, not the recent one, Legacy of the Void, but the other two. Most of the World of Warcrafts, and the two I really beta tested heavily were Warlords of Draenor and Cataclysm, and those were the two that burnt me out really fast.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't recommend doing that. Dreadnought, World of Warships, a lot of Rift, Guild Wars 2, Ion, which I was so sad about. A lot of MMOs actually. Can't even remember which other ones. Most Warhammer 40k games because I'm a slave to Games Workshop.
So for the majority of the games you've beta tested have all been MMOs.
3/4.
Yeah.
I'll say. Easily 3/4.
And about 90% of those are Blizzard games.
I wouldn't say that many, but a lot of Blizzard games, yeah.
Okay. John, how about you?
Well, same thing. Like a couple of World of Warcraft expansions. I think Wrath of the Lich King was one. I believe I got very late into the beta of the Burning Crusade, and that may have been it. Obviously, Mighty Number 9, because we had no choice but to endure that. Star Wars Battlefront was a big one, obviously. I got very late into the beta of Hearthstone, very, very late, like almost right before it launched anyway, so it didn't really make a difference. Obviously, Overwatch. I think I got into a Guild Wars 2 beta, never fucking touched it, though. I just didn't care. There was I'm trying to think of this one where I was younger. I want to say it was like a Command and Conquer thing, but I don't remember. It was like some kind of strategy game like that, and I for the life of me don't know what it was, but I know I never really played it. But I honestly haven't been like in that many betas. I've really been the guy like scouring the internet to get information for betas, especially for like the WoW like expansions and stuff like that.
Right.
That was like my big thing. But yeah, I mean that's the most I can think of.
Now, have either of you actually used the betas for the purpose, which is testing, or do you typically use them for what the typical gamer wants to?
Dicking around.
To try the game out and play it.
Literally just trying the game out to play it. I did not submit any feedback to any forum ever. I was the worst.
So, looking back, like, from a company's point of view, do you want people like you testing your game?
No.
Why not?
Because I don't give them any data. I just take up space on their server.
Dude, yeah, but that actually might be testing things for them.
Yeah.
Taking up space on their server might be exactly what they want for you.
Exactly what they needed from me.
Right.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I guess oh, that was the other beta, Heroes of New Earth. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, I was in that too.
That game went far.
Yeah.
I mean that released as a pure Dota clone.
Some betas that I've been in, like I took Vanilla and Burning Crusade betas very seriously for Warcraft, and I submitted a lot of stuff for them. A lot, like to the point where I feel like they put me on mute because I submitted so much stuff to them.
Yeah.
But I kept getting beta invites. I'm still getting beta invites to all of their games to this day. So
They assigned one dev to you.
Yeah, pretty
His
much.
daily job is to sit down for 2 hours and read all your shit.
Dom's feedback.
Pretty much. But lately I've kind of fallen into the trap of, no, I'm just going to play the game. Like, I'm not getting paid for this. And some people, that's their job. Their job is to play games. But it's not fun. You would think, being a beta tester, ooh, you get to play. You imagine being the beta tester for, like, Overwatch? That's the new hot game right now. Like, oh, that sounds great. Like, I get to play, Overwatch often. But no. A lot of your testing is going to be, you're going to go into a match with one other person on the enemy team, and you're going to be like, let me try this. You go stand there. Okay, now, hold on. Do it again. Okay, one more time. Oh, I almost had it. Do it again. Oh, so close. Do it again. And that's what you're beta testing. Like, you're going to be doing that over and over and over and over again. You may be trying one character's specific move. One move. The whole day. That's it.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Just trying to break it that one more time.
That's not really that fun.
No, it's
Really
not.
So be thankful that isn't our job.
Yeah.
Because I personally wouldn't be able to handle that.
God, no. No, I mean, I even, like, when they had public test rooms in Warcraft, I would literally just do it just to get the pre-made heroes with all the good gear.
Mm-hmm.
So I could be cool for a week.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean,
I want to know what it is. I want to know what it's like to break shit.
The one thing that I still do is when I'm playing a Warcraft beta, if I'm running around, whether I'm fooling around, whatever, is if I fall through the world, which happens a lot. Falling through the world happens often. I will document exactly what I was doing, where it was, and if I was able to replicate it. Because sometimes I will try again to fall through the world. I'll try it on purpose. Because that, to me, is one of the most frustrating things ever, and I want to make sure that is polished for the final game. That is the one and only bug that I will continuously, to this day, report for them.
Sure.
And that's, as they've said this, in person, I mean, at dev panels and stuff like that, that's one of the hardest bugs to squash, so I'm sure they appreciate every report they get on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly because your character model is technically only 1 pixel wide.
Right. And
for collision purposes.
Right. And when I see things like, oh, there's a graphical error, like maybe this object is named doodad _001 _ door.
Yeah.
I don't report that because chances are
they already know.
They know it, But you get into like Wrath of the Lich King, you're raiding in Naxxramas, and anybody that raided Naxxramas is going to remember the door before Maixna. Every time you moused over that door, it was doodad _ some, whatever. That was in there
Fell through the cracks, baby.
That was in there for the whole first, up until the next instance came out. The whole first set of thing. It might have even been in there through the second instance. I don't know. But I think it was one of those bugs that just made it through, and nobody actually reported it.
No one said anything.
Yeah. So,
Who was...
I'm sure they knew, but that must have been one of those things they couldn't hotfix for whatever reason.
Well, yeah, you can't hotfix it, but I'm saying it persisted through multiple patches where it never went through. So it was... Another problem with running a thing like that is you have so many different versions of your game. You don't know what you're playing and what you're testing, and like I have a couple friends that work at Blizzard, and one's on the community managing team, and he said the best way to describe remembering what builds and everything he's playing is like being a Time Lord in Doctor Who, because he's got to remember every version, when he's trying to communicate information over the forums, right? He's got a live build. He's got the PTR build. They've got internal builds, which usually have 4 or 5 different versions of them. Then they have a build that they can play at home that is different from the live and the PTR builds. That is for other testing purposes. He says there's usually 8 or 9 versions of a particular thing running around.
Wow.
And when he's talking about them, he's got to remember which ones are going, like which one he's referring to and which things are in which game, and it's really difficult for him.
Or even which ones he's even allowed to talk about in the first place.
Yeah. So
Right.
And that's only for the live or upcoming. That's not even for like an expansion that's coming out. You know, the not even talking. That's a live game that's like between builds for the next patch. So figure just before a new raid comes out or something like that. That's usually what that's going on. So it's like, did this bug get fixed? And that's where a lot of times when you're expecting like, oh, why can't they just respond, on the forums? It's because they have to figure out what build they're talking about first. That's a big priority for them, is they don't want to relay the wrong information.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I don't know why I just remember this. Wasn't there either a patch or like a expansion for a while that came out and like the orcs all had tiny shoulders?
I think
remember
it was.
that?
I think it was.
Yeah, I believe that was it.
I just
Orcs had
remember for
tiny
like
shoulders.
3 weeks the orcs had tiny little shoulder pads, and it was funny as hell.
I know for a long time, and Mike could attest to this, in one patch recently in Warlords of Draenor, my goblin
Had no face.
wearing the tier 3 mask. It's only the tier 3 mask from Naxxramas on a male goblin with my face configuration. It wasn't every goblin. It was the particular nose and ear pattern that I had made his nose and ears disappear.
And when you looked at him close up, you could see clear through his head to the other side.
Yeah,
Great.
It's just a big missing hole. You could see right through it. I could have reported that
You
and
didn't.
been like, hey, look.
Why would you?
I was like, no, this is fucking awesome. I
But
had
there's
no
the thing.
ears and no nose, and it went through, and it lasted a long time.
How many, first off, rogues who have the tier 3 face mask are playing goblins with that face configuration? Most rogues back then were undead.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a bug that was crashing the game or anything like that. It was just an aesthetic thing, and I liked it, so I was like, I'm not going to report it. I'm going to let it go as long as possible. So.
And we got used to it. It was fun.
Yeah.
The
But-
noseless, earless goblin.
For developers other than, the like demand that, oh, I have to be in this, get me in this, they deal with that all the time. Other than stuff like that, it's really the number one thing they have to worry about is burnout.
Mm-hmm.
If they put too much content into their betas, by the time the game goes live, you've seen it all, you've done it all, you've played it all. There's nothing keeping you there. That's the big problem. And I feel like that impedes a lot of business for them as well, because if you get those people that do that with WoW, and then they cancel and they don't play for a while and then they'll come back later and, all that, I'm sure a lot of that is a direct correlation to playing the beta too much and knowing everything that there is to do and burning out and, all that. I've done it myself.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't know where the good balance is. Is it just to have stress test weekends and beta weekends and whatever? Or you just cut back, dial it back a bit, but then you risk having too many bugs in the game when it launches.
See, I feel like whatever happened with Overwatch was pretty good, right? Because there was the beta lasted for, they had like a couple weeks here, a couple weeks there. Then the free open weekend for like mega stress testing. They adjusted some things in the game, like they took away Bastion's energy shield, they adjusted some ultimates and stuff like that. Like nothing too huge. So
They made McCree do a lot less damage.
Yeah.
They've changed a lot of stuff. Genji used to have a bleed effect on his sword.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I guess there was a lot changed.
Yeah, they changed quite a bit. They did a lot of balancing. That they took the winter when they shut it down. They shut it down completely. Over winter break, you couldn't even play the game for a couple months.
Right. And I think that was okay because, it was not a very huge beta release, especially that first couple days when the beta came out. I know there was a lot of people who were just like, we're not getting in and we're pissed.
Yeah.
That first wave was not very big for people. I don't know. I feel like that may have been the right thing to do because no one seems to have gotten burnt out on that game at all.
Yeah.
It's one of probably the biggest releases of a game in a long, long time.
Yeah. I mean, me personally, I got into early beta for Overwatch. I played a lot of it. I played a lot of Genji, right? Here's the thing now. Now that the game's on live, I've played Genji maybe twice. Haven't played a lot of Genji.
Because you realize that there are other also equally fun heroes.
No.
And you burn yourself out on Genji.
No, there's Reaper. John, how many hours have I put into Reaper?
A day. You have a whole day as Reaper.
24 hours as Reaper.
Uh-huh.
And see, what's funny is my most played was Genji. And he was one I never touched in the beta at all.
But that's the thing, is when you start getting sick of one character, you can move on to another.
There's 20 others.
You could just keep swapping in the middle of the match. So that's a little bit different because, there's a bunch of there's a patch coming out for it next month that's going to have, the ranked play and all that stuff in it. And then there's talk of more characters being added right around the corner. So,
sure.
New maps, things like that. That's going to keep people interested in the game. So, that's a little bit of a different beast. But when you get an MMO where it's static and it's about this quest and that quest and your performance, much less your performance as the story and the quest and the progression and everything that goes around, unlike where Overwatch, where 100% of the game is your performance. Mm-hmm. It's going to change every time because that's the beauty about shooters. You're never going to play the same match twice, no matter how many times you play that one map.
Correct.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true.
So
I guess it is different then. Yeah.
Burnout is a lot less on a shooter than it's going to be on a MMO or something like that.
Or even, I guess, really, you could just say a story-driven game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never going to beta test, in my opinion, a story-driven game ever again unless most of the story is missing from the beta and they're just testing gameplay.
Yeah. Because testing core mechanics. Like, if Warcraft was coming out right now for the first time, right, and they're like, oh, well, let's say Overwatch is the only game Blizzard ever put out, and they're like, oh, well, we're going to make an MMO called World of Warcraft. What they should do would be to release their PvP aspect as their beta and focus on that, which will balance, that's all the class balance and everything, and you focus on that and your maps and whatever, and then you build the game elsewhere, but you don't have people test that, Like, I would love Overwatch to have a story mode. Never gonna happen.
No.
But it would be phenomenal to have a single-player campaign.
Yeah, I guess.
It'd be difficult for some characters, like, I'm sure Bastion's story mode wouldn't be that entertaining.
You just sit in a corner and wait for everything to run at you.
Right? So, I don't know.
Even add in a different versus AI, Team Fortress 2 added in man versus machine mode.
Yeah, something like that.
That was a lot of fun. They send robotic enemies at you in huge waves sometimes. Do that.
Yeah, but kind of the other problem that you have, the only other downside I could think of to beta testing is as a smaller company or an individual, as a startup, if you throw your beta test out there, you run into things where people can steal your ideas, right? And think of what's happened now with PT, game we covered forever ago. It literally feels like forever ago we covered PT, but that was a demo for upcoming Silent Hill game that got canceled. And you see all these other games that are spawned off of it, Abbey Road, and I forget, there's at least one other one that I know of, I can't think of the title for, where they take the concept of how that game played, how that demo played, and they're making another game off of it. So you risk the thing if you put a demo or a beta or something out there, people copying your ideas before it's launched, and you don't have that shock factor anymore, because by the time you get around to it, say a big company wasn't developing PT, right? Say that was just somebody in-house that took the Unreal Engine, They made this quick little demo for people to try and get excited for and be like, oh, well, we're going to launch a game that's just like this. But because we're a small company, it's going to take us 3-4 years to do, right? By the time you come out with that now, because PT was a very original concept at the time when it came out, 4 years later, after everybody's played the shit out of that, loved it and everything, there's going to be clones of it out there that are not going to be as good.
Yeah.
It's going to be watered down, and by the time your actual game, the original creator of this, gets out there, it's so watered down that it's not exciting anymore.
Yeah, the market just gets overflowed with that kind of thing.
So that's the other problem that you have to look out for with beta testing. And if you have a really cool concept, something original, something different, keep it in-house. Don't go public with it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, it's the truth. I mean, we were just talking, I think, off camera, but like about the Slenderman games. Like Slender the Arrival had a beta.
Yep.
And that game got copied to shit before it even came out. Luckily, the real game was head and shoulders above the competition once it was finished. Mm-hmm. But they took this like one level that you could play in the beta, and just people went crazy with it. They stole the crap out of the idea. So, and I don't think it was even that long. It may have only been a year.
Yeah.
Which isn't a super long time, but like it was enough for people to just jump on it and try to get on the bandwagon. So
look at Flappy Bird. How many different spawns of Flappy Bird are there now?
Oh, forget it. Dozens.
That was a really new original idea when it came out. It wasn't complicated. It wasn't like, oh my god, that's amazing. It was addictive, sure, but it was an original idea. Now, when you think of Flappy Bird, you think of Miley Cyrus's head floating through the sky, whatever. Like, I've seen so many different versions of that. It's ridiculous.
Flappy Bird.
So, I don't know. You guys have anything else to say for betas? Or Flappy Bird?
Not for Flappy Bird.
Oh, random factoid. Some board games even have betas nowadays.
Really?
Weirdly enough.
How is that?
Just they change the rule books and such, and alter cards, and
Huh.
For real.
Huh.
Like, you know what? That was a beta. Fucking Boss Monster 2 had a beta.
Really?
It was like a print and play beta, they called it. You could print out the game, cut the cards out yourself, and just test the game for them. And they called it a beta because technically it was, and they made adjustments based on player feedback. So, know what?
Actually really fucking cool.
Yeah. It was it was a Kickstarter thing. But, it was like a free print version. You just printed it out, played it with some friends, gave them your feedback, and they adjusted cards and rules and such. So, so not just video games, ladies and gentlemen.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's my last thing. Sorry.
And Cleo in chat is saying Lord of the Rings card game had a digital beta. She was invited to, but never got to play.
That's crazy.
And there's been countless betas that I've gotten into that I forget about. I don't check my email, because I put all that stuff in a spam email, like I have an old Hotmail account from, 50 years ago, whatever Hotmail was created. I don't know. I'm not exaggerating at all. And I put everything in there because I don't want my actual email to be spammed with this kind of crap. So I tend to forget to check, and I end up missing a lot of betas. So, but yeah. So I think that about does it.
Coolios.
Mike, where can the people find you?
They can find me on the Twitters at Philidrin. Right there.
And it's gone. And it's back.
John, where can the people find you?
You can find me at No More on Twitter.
Excellent. And can we find Yoshi there too?
If you look hard enough, you certainly can.
There's a hidden Yoshi in John's room right now.
Yep. You'll never find it.
Never find it.
Hold on, wait. Is there... Oh no, he's not on that poster. Never mind, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's no cheating in this one.
Yeah, there's a hidden Yoshi. You can find me down below at XIZTA with an underscore. Don't forget the underscore, because otherwise it's some spam account. It's not me. It hasn't posted in like 6 years. Definitely not me though. Till next week, John. What is our topic for next week?
Topic next week is going to cover collector's editions of games. So, it should be interesting. Get your statues ready, ladies and gentlemen.
Ooh.
Statue?
There it is, Baby Winston.
There's Baby Winston.
Made it all worth it.
Mm-hmm.
So you said hidden Yoshi. John, the globe in your background looks like some kind of deformed Yoshi head while on camera.
God damn it, he found it.
You found it.
Okay.